Welcome to our latest video, where we'll be exploring a crucial aspect of Ubuntu Server configuration. If you're managing multiple network interfaces on your server, you might have encountered the challenge of specifying an IP address for a shell in a specific folder. This is especially important when working with web applications or services that require unique IP configuration. In this video, we'll delve into the process of binding two network cards to Ubuntu Server and specify an IP for a shell in a particular folder. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a clear understanding of how to tackle this common issue and optimize your server's networking setup. To begin with, let's break down the concept of network interfaces and IP addresses in Ubuntu Server. Each network interface represents a physical or virtual connection to a network, such as Ethernet cards, Wi-Fi adapters, or even VPN connections. When you have multiple network interfaces, each one can be assigned its own IP address, allowing your server to communicate with different networks or subnets. Now, let's consider the scenario where you want to specify an IP address for a shell in a particular folder. This is often necessary when working with web applications that require unique IP configurations, such as hosting multiple websites on a single server. In this case, we'll explore how to bind two network cards to Ubuntu Server and assign specific IP addresses to each interface. The first step involves configuring the network interfaces using the netplan command. This utility allows you to define the IP addressing scheme for each interface, including the IP address, subnet mask, gateway, and DNS servers. We'll walk through an example of how to configure two network interfaces with distinct IP addresses. Once we've configured the network interfaces, we can move on to specifying an IP address for a shell in a particular folder. This involves creating a new file in the network interfaces directory that defines the IP addressing scheme for the specific interface and folder combination. We'll provide a detailed example of how to create this file and specify the desired IP address. To illustrate these concepts, let's consider an analogy. Think of network interfaces as separate doors leading into your server. Each door represents a unique entry point, and by assigning different IP addresses to each door, you can control who can enter and what resources they can access. By specifying an IP address for a shell in a particular folder, you're essentially creating a specific entrance for that folder, allowing only authorized users or applications to access its content. To summarize the main points discussed in this video, we explored the concept of network interfaces and IP addresses in Ubuntu Server. We learned how to bind two network cards to Ubuntu Server using the netplan command. We discovered how to specify an IP address for a shell in a particular folder by creating a new file in the network interfaces directory. In specifying an IP address for a shell in a specific folder is a common requirement when working with Ubuntu Server. By following the steps outlined in this video, you should now have a clear understanding of how to bind multiple network interfaces and assign unique IP addresses to each one. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials on Ubuntu Server configuration. If you have any questions or need further clarification, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.